Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah?
I love you, baby.
I love you too. Who is that texting you?
Nobody, baby. Don't worry about it.
Nobody. It says Tina. Who the fuck is Tina? Who the fuck is Tina?
Bitch, you know what? Get your shit and get out.
You know what? I love you, babe, but maybe we should take a break.
A break? Maybe you should kiss my ass.
Sound familiar? You in a relationship and this shit ain't working. It's time for the truth. This is the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams.
Extraordinaire Louis Dix in the building. What up, Lou?
Well, first I want to say shout out to Greg Shelton's family. Greg, who passed away.
Indeed.
Friend of ours that produced. And then second, congratulations to you and your seed who's heading to Auburn.
Hey, thank you.
And
thank you.
Good Friday to everyone, and hope they have a good Passover and Easter.
Yes, thank you, Louis. That was nice of you. Greg Shelton was a good friend of ours. He produced our shows at the Foxhole, and he passed away just a couple of days ago. And the Foxhole family mourns the brother, and we do send peace to his family's heart. Yep. And again, host, writer, comedian extraordinaire, Gabe from Splitsville. Can you give our fans just a quick breakdown of who you are and what you do here on Hot Button?
Sure, Zoe. First of all, thanks so much for having me on your show. I do a show on Mondays from 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific times called Splitsville. Focuses on divorce, whether you're going through one or thinking of getting one but are not sure whether you should, or living kind of in the aftermath of one. We're there to give you support or just a shoulder to cry on, and we want to hear your stories, funny stories, serious stories, and we got some great guests coming up, and particularly this coming Monday.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to be joining you.
We're going to have Zoe Williams.
I'm going to be on that show, and I'm going to teach you how to get out. No, I don't know how to get out. Listen, with that said, today's topic is centered around what Gabe does every time he comes here. This is the breakup/divorce show. Does a breakup even count if you're not married? 844-55-1, that's the number to dial. I'm going to ask some questions here. The breakup show. Can your relationship be saved when your heart's tank is empty? Maybe not your heart's tank. What about your wallet? 844-55-1. That's the number to dial. What are the percentage of marriages going to the way of divorce now? Isn't it still like in the high 40s, close to 50%?
It's almost half, yeah.
Is it a lose-lose deal for men, period? Is it becoming a problem for men? I don't know. Somebody get to your phone line, 844-55-1. I got a couple more questions to ask, and then we're going to open it up to the panel. I'm hearing 55 to 65% of first marriages end within the first 15 years. That's crazy.
And what's interesting is when you get to people above 65, the percentages go way up.
Really?
Way up.
Wow. Yikes. Some people tell me that divorce, I've never been married, so I'm going to be schooled today, that divorce is like a death. Right? That's what I've heard. It's like a death. I've also heard that divorce is the number one indicator of poverty in America. Number one indicator of wealth is marriage. Is it a setup? 844-55-1. Whitney Tabor is going to come in later with her husband.
Ex-husband?
Yeah, they had a divorce, Jesus. But they're friends, so I kind of think they're still together.
What?
Yeah. Her ex-husband is going to call into the show, pro-allegedly.
We'll see.
And share, right, their experience.
Yeah.
And also on the line, we have another divorcee. Veronica Conway has joined the call. For the fans of the Voice of Reason, everyone knows who Veronica is. Veronica, welcome to the show.
Hey, y'all. Just call me the happy divorcee.
Hey, Veronica.
Wow.
There
so,
is happiness.
can we talk about this? What is it a fantasy to have a good divorce? Like, is there such thing as an amicable peaceful, respectful, honorable divorce where it's kind of like a win-win situation? Speak to that. Anybody?
Yeah. I'll speak to that. I coached one. I coached one. This is Veronica. And in my early coaching days, someone came to me, a guy who was married. There was a lot of money at stake. He had young kids, and he had a mistress. And I coached all three of them to a happy resolution where their friend said, we have never seen anyone divorce so sanely. It actually can happen, but you have to decide it. You have to decide.
Whitney?
I agree. I'm still friends with my ex because we did it so smoothly, but we didn't have any money, so maybe that was it.
Right. It probably gets messy when there's money involved, right?
I mean, it was just honestly the headache wasn't worth it on either our ends to ruin each other's lives anymore. So we just said, hey, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and we're still cool.
Lewis, then Gabe. Lewis?
Well, it depends on it's different factors. I mean, if you start off married and you and your wife decide what's important in the marriage, if you say, okay, we're going to have children, we're going to raise them, we're going to act a certain way, that's what's important. You know, like I was married for 296 months. So when you're, after 24 years, you sit down and you decide what's important. And what's important is your children. I mean, you have to go through the 7 stages of grief. You know, you get through shock, you go through it. But then you have to determine what kind of person you are. You know, what kind of human being you want to be. And then it's a reflection of your children because they're watching, because they now know your secrets. Once a child gets of a certain age, they know your weaknesses, they know your strengths, and then they see how you exploit one another. So it depends on the XY chromosome. The man has to be a man. The woman is going to be, they upgrade. They shop all the time. That's what XY does. XX, they shop. They want to upgrade. The whole thing is about if you're going to be common or if you're going to be unique. Now, common is divorce. And unique is saying, I'm going to work through it. I'm going to see how I can be unique. Now, a lot of women who are common tell the other women, let's be common. And the other woman say, okay, that's okay. And then when she gets in the common lane, she realizes she's now back in the game. And then once you're back in the game, you lose all that uniqueness. And that's what happens. And a lot of young people don't understand the uniqueness of themselves. That's why they're out. That's why women now are doing things that men do. So and they're challenging men. And basically, men have a certain degree that they can stay. It's your tone. It's basically your tone, how you deal with women, if you listen to them. That's why a father-daughter's relationship is so important, because that's the one relationship where you can tell your daughter, I'm not having sex with you. I love you beyond that, what's below your waist. Every other woman thinks you want to have sex with them, especially young girls. That's why they show stuff that they just got. Okay, you just got those breasts, and now you want to show everybody. They're not important to real men. And that's why you see older men dealing with younger women, because they don't have to deal with the after-sex conversation, which is what do you want to be? What do you want to do in life? How can you better yourself? And that's a challenge to women, because, listen, you're not going to better yourself through me. You have to do it through yourself. Wow. That's why it's important that if an older man gets with a woman, you have to educate her. Send her back to school. Let her get her degree. Let her get her master's so she can understand that she's important and has self-worth. Otherwise, it's going to be gravity, and she's going to bring you way down.
Wow. Gabe and then Ashanti. This is big right now. Let's go.
I think there definitely can be amicable divorces, but I think it's the exception rather than the rule. In fact, I had a buddy of mine, Jackie, the joke man from the old Howard Stern show, call in a couple of weeks ago, and he got divorced, and he said it couldn't have gone better. His wife moved into a house down the street. He helps her with her recording career, and they're best of friends. But usually you get divorced because you're unhappy, and perhaps one party is more unhappy than the other. And particularly if you have children, people tend to understandably stay longer than they probably should for the children. Try to work it out, which you do want to do at all costs. You want to work it out. What happens is if that doesn't work, if you've gotten to the point where that doesn't work, now you're together, and the friendship then can become resentment because you're staying together longer than you should. And so after that, it's really hard to get back to that place where you can reconcile. Because if you have kids and you're staying together for them and you stay together too long, we were talking about this last week with the intimacy, that it's not just sex, it's just even closeness of touching. I never saw my parents even hold hands. And so by that time, when that happens and you break up, There's so many issues, like you said earlier, you alluded to, that's very often financial. And that's when it really gets to be a sticky situation, and it's really hard to go back after that.
Wow. Ashanti.
I'm kind of like you, Zoe. So I'm looking forward to being schooled. I've never been married, but I can speak to the topic of divorce with my parents, actually. My dad and stepmom were married when I was 5, and as of 2 weeks ago, they announced that they were getting a divorce. Main reason being, my mom did not feel loved and communicated with, and my dad did not feel appreciated and respected. So I guess with the turmoil of that, 25 years later, they've decided that they're getting a divorce.
Wow. So divorce is a real business in America, right? Like,
I think it's become a business. I don't think it is a business. I think everything has become a business now. I mean, even selfies is a business. I mean, everything is self now. There's no
narcissism.
Nobody's taken the challenge of being selfless. Which is what it's important in a marriage, is selflessness. I mean, can you care about me when you shouldn't care about me? Can you function when I'm not around in a way that says no? Because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody gets tempted. And the thing is, you get tempted, then you have to make a choice. What's important? And what's important is the reflection of, say, your son looking at you and how you hurt his mother. Because that's what challenges a man. When you have to look at the one of the males that you care about the most, your son or your father. And
reconcile that.
Well, and not so much reconcile, just stand up to it and deal with it.
Right.
I mean, the heck with reconcile, because he's going to deal with it once he gets married and has kids. So he's going to turn around and say, hey, I see why Dad had to sit in the basement for a while. Because you remember, our fathers had to have that drink before they came home. They had to have that moment before they walked back in the house, because they knew the challenge. Like, look, and your mother gave it to you.
Yeah.
Leave your father alone.
Don't go mess with him.
Let him have his moments. Then he came back up in a certain way. Now, as soon as you walk in the house, the other day, I'm telling you, I saw 2 people who were on the street living in a tent, and the woman was yelling at the guy. And I'm like, how you going to yell at him and both of y'all homeless? How you going to get on him? Both of y'all in the street, and she's got attitude. The man then built a tent, and now she's yelling at him and pointing, and I'm like, what are you going to do, walk to the other side of the street and say, hey, I'm out?
I've moved away.
Come on, that's a lot of attitude. We on the street and you still gonna give me a headache.
I'm moving out and I get to keep the box.
Right.
So let's just ask this question to everybody, the panelists, and I'm gonna go to Veronica on this one, and I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to answer it. Do you think just the institution of marriage is less sacred than it was, say, 25, 30 years ago? And do you think it's now more corporate? It's now more business than it ever has been? Can you expound on that, Veronica? And everyone will get a chance to answer this. Is it more of a business today than it was 30 years ago?
Well, here's the thing. So what you're talking about in modern day divorce is when unmet needs and unsurfaced expectations emerge, right? To the extent where they becomes unbearable. Right? It's like I've been having all these needs, I've been having all these expectations, and finally I realize that this person sitting across from me is not going to meet them. I would say that divorce historically, because marriage was historically an institution that was designed for property and for procreation. Right? You got married because you wanted to be sure about what was going to happen with your property so that it would go to your heirs. Now that that baby making, we have more control over reproduction. What emerges is our higher needs, right? Maslow's needs. So my expectations and my needs. So now that we realize that we can get those met in more places, I think divorce is on the rise, because now I can say it's not about survival, it's about needs and expectations.
So your vote is marriage is less significant spiritually today than it was, say, 30 years ago.
Well, it's always been, the institution of marriage, if you look at the history of it, has always been rather insignificant spiritually. Legislating love and union and connection was always the business of the state, not the business of people or humans. That was the business of the state. That had to do with property. So the institution of marriage has always been about that. And if you don't believe me, try getting a divorce, and then you'll find out what it's about. It's about property.
Wow. Gabe?
I tend to agree in the way that it's not it is about, a lot of it is about property and finances. What I, going back to what I said before, that it is about, it usually becomes about that. That's why mediation usually doesn't work, because it's very rare that two people are in agreement about exactly how things are supposed to be split.
But is mediation a better option than a husband and a wife going to get two separate lawyers? Because you do know that lawyers are trained to win. So they're more in a win-loss kind of movement, whereas the mediator is more of a win-win. Is this true or false?
If you know exactly going in that I want this, I want that, we share this, and you're exactly on the same page, absolutely go to a mediator, save thousands and thousands. If you can't come to terms, if there's a disagreement that's not going to change, you're actually spending more because you're going to end up with attorneys anyway.
Wow. Lewis?
Well, I think marriage now it's about 20% of your income. That's basically when you get divorced. That's what it's going to be about. You're going to give up 20% of your income. But I think it goes back to the beginning. In the beginning, if you and the woman that you decide to love sit down and have a plan mapped out. One of the most important things I tell my son is like, listen, when you get a certain age, you have to buy two of everything. When you get married, you try to get two homes, one to be a rental property, two cars, because basically it comes down to that. You take your half, I take my half. Oh. And that's what's important. So you have to plan for life. Even if you're not going to get divorced, you really want two homes anyway, because your kids are going to come back and you don't want them to come back in the house so they can go down to the other house to get themselves together. Because they're going to go through their life changes. They're going to deal with stuff that they have to deal with. So you want to send them. Even if you get a new marriage, that new wife is not going to want your son sitting around at 25 trying to figure it out. So you send him to the other home. So that's why we had two homes. So he can go to the other house. So now you can't say he needs to get out of here. Well, that's my seed. It's not yours. I understand. So he's going to go down in the house and chill that I paid for.
It's my house.
And we can keep our love in this house.
Right.
Because the whole thing is the woman wants, where's mine? Like Veronica was saying, do you care about me? What's going on? So yeah, I'm lonely. So you know what? I'm going to stay here and give you what you need. Now down the street, I can walk down and talk to my son and give him what he needs. So I don't take from you. Because that's one thing that hurts a woman when you take from them. That's when if you have an affair, you're taking something from her. No one likes to have something taken from them. That's why men get so angry and divorced.
You know what? A lot of people look at marriage as the Super Bowl of relationships. But it's not starting. It's the picture you guys are painting does not look like the Super Bowl. This looks
sometimes
like
you have a good game, and sometimes you have a blowout, and sometimes you have a close game. Sometimes you throw a Hail Mary.
Right.
It's just like all the Super Bowls.
Right. Ladies, am I to understand that this is still the fantasy that's in the minds of most women who want to be married, who want to be swept away by Prince Charming? And I'm listening to some good guys in here talk about a real tough situation that they went through. Do you guys still aspire to be in marriage?
I do. I mean, even with my current family situation with the divorce, I still, in the back of my head, have that Beauty and the Beast Cinderella vision when it comes to marriage. And I want to touch on that question you asked earlier. Do we feel like marriages today are just as sacred as they were back when? And no, I don't think so. I mean, my grandparents were always divorced as to when I was born, but anytime there was a gathering, my grandfather was there, my grandmother made him a plate, and it was like they were a couple. You don't really see that today. I didn't even know that they were divorced until they passed away, actually, to be honest with you. I don't think that still exists much today.
Well, obviously, in most divorces, especially like Gabe said, most divorces are messy. Right? He said it's an exception to the rule that they're amicable. Right?
Yeah, anything that's broken, you get angry about it.
Right.
You break something, like, hey.
Veronica, I see you want to get in. Go ahead.
I'm going to speak to the fantasy because...
Veronica, because we can't see you, boo. Let me set you up. Let me throw it to you, honey, because I can't see you. Go ahead, finish.
Okay, I can go?
Yes.
Okay. No, but so I have a 21-year-old daughter who goes to Wellesley, which is an all-women's school, right, in the East. And my daughter has been raised very practically about the institution of marriage, and she's studied it. She's written papers about it. One of the things that she noticed at this very progressive, liberal female school where Hillary Clinton went, Madeleine Albright, is that all of the girls would sit around in their off time and watch Say Yes to the Dress. And they would say to her, you must be anti-marriage or anti-man. She said, no, I'm just not going to worry about picking the dress before I have chosen the man.
Yo, that's real. That's super real.
And so women today, even at the very young age, this is Gen Y and the millennials, there's still this indoctrination about the fantasy about the wedding day and the wedding party, with no attention or very little attention to the character, the relationship, how it's actually going to go. I think there's still a huge amount of indoctrination that comes out of the wedding industrial complex, which leaves women feeling, very. It confuses women.
Wait a minute. You said the marriage industrial complex? Is that like
wedding industrial complex?
The wedding industrial. Can you say more about that? What is that? That was kind of heavy.
I got it. If you've been married, you totally understand what Veronica's saying.
Say more.
I mean, from soup to nuts, start to finish. I mean, if you look at the wedding industry and you look at the party planning and event planning industry and you look at the diamond industry, which is a fraud, and if you look at marriage licenses and what happens in divorce and how the property gets, it's a complex. It's an industrial complex. We all know that, right?
Yes, no.
It sounds like the commercialization of Christmas. Go ahead, Louis.
Well, first, I want to congratulate Veronica on your lovely daughter, 21. Congratulations. With her.
You.
Oh no, thank you. That's one less man has to deal with a problem. No. I mean, seriously, no. When you think about it, same way in training my daughter, and it's a training process from the time that they're of age. When a woman becomes a woman, once she becomes a woman, meaning once her menstrual starts and she understands that, hey, this is who I am, and then her and mom start competing. That's when the male has to step in and say, listen, this is what I expect from you and the young men who are trying to date you. Like this whole cross relationships with my daughter's African-American. So she went to a private school and her first little boyfriend she liked was Jewish. And I'm like, hold up, Peyton. You can't sit at that ancestors table. You got to keep in mind that it's going to be difficult. You can adjust. And the same thing when she tried to do with Latino. And I said, listen, just meet me halfway. Oh, Dad, you're racist. Okay, just meet me halfway, Peyton. And then the little boy was mixed. And then I had to make sure that I talked to the little boy, took him for a walk, said, listen, her hymen better still be there when she graduates.
Wow.
Because you have to set these. And the daughter was embarrassed. But even now to this day, she's at Emerson. She's a junior. I still talk to her little boyfriend who's an athlete, and that's very important that the girl is dating a boy that's an athlete. Reason because he has certain rules that he learns to follow. And you know where he is Friday and Saturday. And you have to instill, and he goes through an embarrassment where the girl's embarrassed, but the XY chromosome has to step in and say, this is what I expect of you if you're going to, like I would meet my daughter's little boyfriends outside. She's like, Dad, why do you come outside? Because if you run in the house crying, I don't know what it's about. I get to look him in his eye to see if he hurt you the wrong way.
Louis, I love it.
You just have to be that overbearing. And mom would say, that's just too much. Well, you know what? It's going to have to be too much because I got to roll that way because I don't want her coming home with no baby because then I got to kill somebody.
Yep.
Okay, everybody wants to speak. We're going to get to everybody. Everybody's going to be able to respond. Whitney, go.
I was just saying, shout out to Louis for doing that. That's exactly how my dad raised me. So I couldn't even look at a boy until I was 16. Like I couldn't wear makeup. I couldn't do any of that stuff. So having fathers being smart enough to teach women this is dope to me. I'm just super excited. Like,
Yeah. Ashanti?
My dad was a little over the top in high school, meaning like popping up at the high school, taping up letters type.
I'm good. I'm good with that. I've done that. I've showed up at the school.
This is the thing. After that relationship was over and my dad and I's relationship kind of messed up a little bit, he just backed up all the way. And I think a woman still needs her dad even in her adult life.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to keep putting the work in. You just can't pop up. That was part of his journey. I mean, he has to decide that what's important. You're more important than he probably ran into different things in life that was important to him. A fine woman, somebody else. I made a choice, and it's a sacrifice to say, hey, listen, you're the most important female to me right now.
Wow.
It's important for a woman to hear that.
Yes. Gabe?
Well, just to speak to my dad, who left my mom for a woman about half his age, and, had tremendous guilt because my mom had a real tragic life, but he was just about the best ex-husband and ex-father you could hope for. He would He lived the opposite end of New York City, but he would come up and he would see my mom 3 times a week. It was very unusual. He would see me, would hang out with me, was very involved in my schooling, and got to the point, it's a pretty bizarre relationship. My father's new wife was half his age and a Buddhist and very accepting. And they got to the point, because my mother was a nurse who took care of children, she had such a hole in her life after that she ended up watching my father's children and even going on vacation with him and his new wife. And it kind of worked for all of them, because my mother, who never dated again, was able to take care of children. My father was able to have the ex-wife and the new wife, and the new wife, who was a Buddhist and extremely accepting, wasn't threatened by my mother because she knew there was nothing sexual between them anymore. And so the family actually stayed close-knit. It was a very unusual situation.
Wow. You're actually Will Smith's son, huh?
Listen, with that joke, we're about to take a quick break. The Voice of Reason on Hot Button Radio, Dash Radio. It's an incredible show. We're talking about breakups, divorces, all of that. If you've been through a nasty one, call us right now, 844-55-1. The phone lines are open. Gabe from Splitsville. Of course, we've got Louis Dix, my good friend from the Foxhole many years. Ashanti Ford, Whitney, Tabor, Veronica Conway, Zoe Williams. I'll be back in 2.2 seconds. Holla! Ladies and gentlemen, the Voice of Reason has returned. And again, today's topic is a heavy one. Twitter is literally on fire right now. I have a quick question to ask the entire panel. I mean, it's a lot of experience here. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and soon to be 5 divorcees on this show that has some information about this process. My question is, will children be better off after a divorce? Or does divorce cause children to choose sides? Yikes. 844-55-1, that's the number to dial. Get to your phone lines right now. Mike from D.C., you're on the line. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, Zoe?
Hey, what's happening?
Hi, what's up, lady?
How you doing? What up, Mike?
Oh, what's up? Hey, what's up, Louis Dick?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Get that mush out your mouth. Speak up.
I'm a big fan, man. I'm a big fan. But anyway,
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to say, only thing about, I think a lot of people are bamboozled and they're a little hoodwink about marriage. Because people think when they see other people married, they think they have a blissful life. But a lot of people don't know that a lot of people that are married are suffering. Like a lot of people that are married, they ain't fucked in years. Like they don't even sleep in the same bed. Like it's like they're in their own prison.
He's right.
A lot of people don't know that. People with marriage, they're just stuck in the situation.
He's right.
They're not happy.
He's right.
They're not.
Well, I mean,
you got more side situations are going, like, the relationship with your side piece is better than your wife.
Ooh, that was a good point.
Yeah, until it hits the fan, Mike. Listen, I understand what you're saying, but marriage is the most personal, public thing that you can get. It's kind of like pregnancy. Women are pregnant, and everybody knows they're pregnant. They want to touch it, but it's a personal thing. And so you got to keep in mind that what you see on the outside, that it's something about being married. Let me just tell you. And we all go through the anger and the stuff like that. But it's something about going home to something consistent for a man. Mm-hmm. Because you know what you're going to get. You know if 8 o'clock she's not happy or the phone's going to cut off. You know, it's just certain things you know. So you deal with that and you take your moments as opposed to that side piece who can flip on you, change on you. Most men don't like change. They like things that are consistent. That's why we watch the same shows and all that. Women adapt. Women make men better. They decide you got to wear shoes on this date. You can wear your sneakers on that date. They upgrade us in good ways. And sometimes the ones that pull us down. And those are the ones you got to watch out for.
Good stuff. Let me go to Gabe, then I'm going to Ashanti Ford.
Yeah, well, first of all, tune into Splitsville, Monday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Little plug for Splitsville. We're going to have the amazing Zoe Williams on this coming Monday. So you'll definitely want to tune in for that. Just to address that about the kids, if there's resentment or whatever, in the perfect world, no. In the perfect world, you know, again, the parents split amicably, or even so, both parents are still very supportive of the other parent. There is going to be, whichever, you know, if there's a majority of custody with one parent, the child will tend to side with that parent. It's just the way it is. They're going to hear, whether that parent is very fair or not, even if they are fair, they're going to overhear that parent, talk to their friends and talk to their parents. And they're only going to see, if somebody has 80 or 90% custody, they're only going to hear that side of it. And, you can, and kids can stay resentful. I got to tell you, even with my parents getting along that crazy situation, I knew my father lived with terrible, terrible guilt, had terrible guilt because of my mother's tragic life. And I was very angry. He left my mother for a younger woman, a woman half his age, a student. And so it wasn't until my 30s, till 20 years later, that I wrote my father a letter and I said, I want you to know you did the right thing by leaving Mom because I never saw you happy before. I never saw you sleep in the same bedroom before. And ever since, I've never seen you unhappy. And everybody deserves happiness.
Wow. Ashanti.
I have a question, so maybe you guys can help me dissect it. They say to be in a healthy relationship, you have to be a whole person, right? You have to be a whole person to be in another relationship with a person. Is it okay, though, to lose yourself in the person that you're married to?
No. Not at all.
Not completely.
Not at all.
So what is the becoming one? What is that?
Becoming one, is flowery talk for something that's pretty basic. And that is self-acceptance, self-knowledge, self-acceptance. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. These are my flaws. These are my qualities. Here they are on the table. Now, if you can handle that, I can handle you. Are you putting this on the table too? Right? This is the equality I would like to see. I'm showing you the full me. You show me the full you. And we accept each other for who and what we are. See, acceptance, when it's not in place, is like, it's like how bacteria grows? Well, instead of bacteria, unruly expectations grow. When you understand, when you haven't accepted the truth of who you are, right? So that means if you haven't accepted the truth of who you are, you can't accept the truth of your partner. I mean, that's unrealistic expectation of yourself to be able to do that, right? So then if you go into that and you say, I expect you to do this, I expect you to do that, and you're trying to use them to save you from yourself, and you're definitely creating a clusterfuck, a conundrum at the very least. Gabe?
I just want to say there's an old saying, expectations are the building blocks of resentment.
Oof.
And I think that's really true. That's something, the more expectations, if you have no expectations, it doesn't happen, because then the person does something, they don't do something, but you're not projecting, okay, this is the way they should react. This is the way they should be. So as they say in 12 steps, acceptance is the answer to all of our problems.
Veronica, and then Ashanti, and then Whitney. Veronica, let's go.
I want to speak to that thing about kids and are they better off afterwards? Yeah. I think that they are, because I'm a master hypnotist, right? So I'm a real deep student of the human mind, and kids imprint everything up until the age of 0 and 7. They just walk around, they take in everything from that environment, and they don't have the filter to discern right, wrong, good, bad. They just take it all in. So if they're in an environment where marriage is supposed to equal love, but marriage really equals disdain and resentment, then they will call love disdain and resentment.
Wow.
And they'll grow up filtering for disdain and resentment because they never had a model in the atmosphere when they were unable to filter about what it means. So they'll take it in, they'll internalize it, and they'll go out and they'll recreate a painful situation. So we've got to get really clear and clean about the truth about relating with our kids.
Ashanti.
So I want to speak to the expectation conversation that we were kind of about to get into. What does it mean that you're not supposed to have expectations for someone?
It doesn't mean you're not supposed to. What it means is, let me do it this way. This is a metaphor from my upcoming book. No, I'm not even going to talk about that, but the metaphor is this. Most people think in black and white, right? They think good, bad, right, wrong. Good for me, bad for me. life is ambiguous, right? So, like for instance, most people, let's just take wanting a house. Most people want to have the house because they want to see what Christmas looks like in the living room, or they want to see what a picnic looks like in the backyard or the barbecue, right? But they don't dream in stereo. They think of all of the great things and the great reasons for having a house, but they don't dream in stereo. They dream in mono. If you dreamt in stereo, you'd know, damn, I have to pay the trash man to come pick up my trash or it won't get picked up. Oh, the second mortgage because we ran out of money. Oh, termites. Oh, upkeep, maintenance, the water bill. All of this. You're not thinking of the responsibility that comes with managing a home. A home is an asset, and you have to manage it like a business, right? Most people don't think in those terms. They think black and white. Oh, it's going to be so cool when I get my house. So expectations for relationships work the same way. They're not balanced stereo expectations. They're limited, if you do this, I'll be happy expectations. And expectations is the source of disappointment when they're not met. Lewis?
No, you're going to go to Ashanti, and then I'll come.
That's right. Thank you, Lewis.
Look, I was going to touch on the kids thing. Both of my parents divorced when I was 2. I don't remember anything. My dad took all 3 of us kids. I still hold a little resentment from my mom not fighting hard enough. I don't know what happened when I was 2 years old, but I still have a little pinch of it like, you really didn't fight hard enough. Even my grandparents tell her to this day, like, I don't know my grandkids because my mom didn't fight hard enough for her. So it is, like, I mean, the kids is really what like Lewis was saying earlier, it's really how much do you value your children? Because they're learning.
They don't. A lot of times the children are ornaments. This is all about me, right? I got married for this. How many times you hear people say, this is not what I signed up for? Listen, this is what came with you signing on the dotted line, Lewis.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I think the first thing about the expectations is first you have to have a value system. And that started with you growing up. You start seeing other people and you say, okay, I'm going to have that value system. So my ex-wife and I, we both had a value system of making sure that the children we created could be educated, loved, and that was our value system. And everything trumped that because love should equal marriage. Love is the strongest thing, and it can get shattered sometimes. But if one person holds on to it, it'll eventually win the other person over or let them see. That's why it's important for self that if you truly love someone, you say, okay, this woman has potential. So I'm going to force her to go to school. I'm going to make sure she educates herself so she can be better than me. Because that's the most important thing is that your wife should have the better things than you. She should be more educated, hopefully. She should, so she can handle your money.
Right.
So she can handle the things that go on. If she's not educated and she's just listening to you, then she's going to be weak. She's going to feel self-conscious. You don't want anyone to feel self-conscious.
And also, Lou, if she doesn't want those responsibilities, you need to start thinking maybe this is not the situation.
Right, but even if she doesn't, you have to show it through an example. Say, okay, you know what, that's fine. She doesn't want it, but my kids are going to have it. You can show, you can lead by example. You can just, most men who go to church, and I don't go to church enough, most men, that's their value system. They go to church and people start seeing them read the Bible. They start seeing them be calm. It's like in your house as a man. You can be a yeller, or you can be someone that tries to tell jokes, or you can be calm. That's what, that's what Veronica was saying. That's what's going to be in the home. And that's what kids are going to see. So if they see their dad honoring the mother, like my son would never raise his voice to my wife. He's like, hey, man, hey, that's mine. Don't do that. My daughter, once she became a teenager, I start seeing him and I have to tell mom, hey, that's your daughter. Hold up. Because at one point, my wife wanted us to get a nanny. I was like, no, we're not getting a nanny. She wanted someone to braid my daughter's hair. I'm like, no, you need to sit her between your legs, braid her hair, because that's the moment you're going to need when she becomes a teenager and try to turn on you. You can say, hey, I started this. And sometimes women don't have those values. My wife didn't have a father. So you as a male got to recognize that and say, okay, this journey is going to be a little tougher because she didn't have the thing. So I'm going to maybe take a few more hits. And I'm going to have to deal with it. And then that's why you're a man. You take hits. So you got to, don't be a man if you can't take the hits.
Right. Don't be a man.
Well, I know that didn't make sense. But
no, it really,
I like that.
No, that made real sense.
I
I feel like to the younger people, that makes more sense than a lot of the should they hear. You feel me? That right there.
Gabe, you want to chime in? This is going places,
I'm
man.
on board with that.
Man, listen, let me just say this. when we were to go back to Ashanti's point about the expectation. When your expectation for a relationship didn't pan out and you blame the other person and you guys have children, watch what your relationship, because a lot of people don't watch themselves. I always say, you can't watch the movie you're starring in. You have to watch yourself in the environment you created, right? So a lot of times when those expectations haven't been met, right, and you have children, watch your relationship with those children change. Watch your tolerance levels change. Watch your punishment style, your parenting style change. I always tell, like there's a sister I talk to who has kids, I say, listen, you have to change your parenting style based on the stage that the child is in, the stage of development. I say, you can't keep whooping ass. This is a teenager.
Right.
You can't whoop a teenager's ass. You have to shift from authoritarian to mentor. And when you become the mentor, that's when they trust you more, because they know that's a source of information that's not going to judge me, that's not going to kick my ass over it, but will give me some valuable information that I can take away and digest somewhere and put it into play. Gabe?
Yeah, I completely agree, and being friends with your kids is, of utmost importance. You do, like you said, you can't whoop their ass when they're in their teens, but you still have to have the authority, because if you don't, your kids won't respect you. Your kids will run all over you, and it's not good for them. At the end of the day, while they're still living under your roof, and I think this is the problem with parents now, and it's part of the whole PC thing, is that they go too far in the other direction. It's I don't want to offend my children. I don't want to take away their freedom. And so then, and once the kids know, there's no corral and there's no rules, there's trouble.
And
so it's a
Gabe,
delicate balance.
That's so powerful, because my 18-year-old, my boy, my 18-year-old, I tell him all day, I'm the dude that has no smoke for your ass. I'm not blowing anything up your ass. I'm just going to tell you the truth every day. And I said, you're a basketball star and you're going places and that's all good. And you're going to find that you're going to magnetize a lot of people who will tell you exactly what they think you want to hear. You're never going to get that from me, right? You could be worth $1 million. If you smell like monkey shit, I'm going to tell you, you smell like primate shit and we need to figure this out before you leave the house. I'm going to always tell you the truth. So you're right, Gabe. There has to be a mentor aspect, but there also has to be a respect aspect where the child is always saying, oh, wait a minute, I can't overstep my bounds in this situation. But what happens when the divorce creates an environment where one parent is programming the child to be disrespectful to the parent that they don't live with, to be ornery or, resentful or rejectful of that parent? What happens then, Gabe?
I think what happens then is it is then up to the child to figure things out for themselves. If their mind is being poisoned, there will come a time, if not immediately. Look, kids are really smart. Kids are sharp. And if they're living with someone who's kind of poisoning their minds, chances are they already have an idea of it. And it could be something, like in my case, but in a different situation, where when they do eventually get out and they're on their own and they can see things more objectively, they can see how they were being programmed, and they can just see the overall picture a lot better the further away they are from both their parents.
Wow. Ashanti, then Lewis, and then Veronica.
I want to speak to what Gabe was just saying. Now, my biological parents had me at 19 and 20. When I was 5, my dad decided to get married to a quote-unquote white woman, to my mom, even though she wasn't white, she was Japanese. But anyways, my mom hated that situation, and she definitely poisoned my mind to feel and say certain things when I would visit my dad. And I was a sharp kid, but to be honest with you, I didn't really see things outside of my mom's perspective until I was maybe 18. 19, I think a mother can have a pretty strong hold on her
you
daughter.
Think? You
I think so.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. And that's a good point.
Yeah.
I always say, and I even tell my son this, my oldest, I say, listen, man, you're not an adult until you have a thought that I didn't share with you. When you become an adult, that's when you create your own ideas. That's when you manufacture your own perspectives. But as long as you parrot in what I've told you, I said, oh, what I've told you is just a template, a blueprint. And now you got to go use the blueprint. These are training wheels. You take them off, right? And then you go out on your own. But just go see if what I said had any validity in your life. Test it, right? Veronica, come with me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I think we forget so often that our allegiance does not need to be to the institution of marriage. Our allegiance doesn't even need to be to if you want to model anything that is sane for children and have them turn into thinking people, then your allegiance must be to truth and reality. Truth and reality, because unless you are continuously pointing children back into, listen, this is what it takes to live in the real world with real people, with real, and that you mentor them around what it takes to be here in reality, then I don't think you're really parenting. I think that there has to be a decision that you make to point to reality and to make the environment not hospitable to anything that's not reality. Because then when you do that, then the children can become discerning, productive adults, and they can think critically for themselves. It's the most important thing we can do for children, I think.
Whitney, then Lewis.
Well, I was going to ask a question. I don't know what Lewis is if he's going to touch on what Veronica's saying, but I just wanted to ask the people on the panel and Veronica who were married, why did you get married? Like, why?
That's always a great question. What was the purpose?
Why did you get, what was it in your life that made, for myself personally, I got married because I wanted a partner in crime. Like, I wanted somebody to experience life with. He didn't have money, he didn't have this, that. We both were fresh out of school. Like, I just wanted somebody to enjoy certain things in my life with. That was it.
Well, I fell in love. And then we talked about what we wanted to accomplish as a couple. And she was from the Black Panther Party up in Oakland. So I knew she had a foundation, me being from Philly. And she was corporate. So I knew that she was non-liquid cash and I was liquid. So I knew that combination would do well. And the thing I think about with
Lewis is legacy building. I see you, Lewis.
The one thing that I think as a parent, the first thing you have to learn is patience. Because the child's brain is not developed to do discernment and all that until they reach a certain age. So, you know, it's like you have to develop, like you talked about poison. And the thing about poison, that you have to have an antidote and you have to let it wear out of the body. Same thing. You just have to have patience with children and understand that if they know, the bottom line is it starts when they're an infant. Or when they're a child, you say, I'll be right back. And you go in the other room, you got to come back. Same thing is I'll pick you up at 4. Then you get there at 3:45. I'll be there when you need me to be there. At their first recital, I'm there. They have to see and trust. And once a child trusts you, then you can start judging them, telling them if they're right or wrong, loving them,
holding them accountable.
Like my son and I, even though he's 22, I still hug and kiss him. When I see him, when I say goodbye in front of his friends, because he knows that's what you're going to get. That's the price of admission. Same thing with my daughter. The price of admission of me being your father is a hug and kiss and you calling me and me knowing your friends. One of the things I did with my kids was anytime when they start getting the cell phones, I got their friends' phone numbers and locked it in my phone. So, because kids won't pick up at a certain age, but their friends will pick up and their friends won't lie to you. So you have to overparent. You have to say, okay, hey, put Lewis on the phone. I know what he's doing. And then you get on the phone. Okay, put Peyton, get on the phone. Okay, and then you just have to do that if it's important to you. If it's not important to you, then it won't be important to you. This was important to me. And I can only speak for myself. And my dad was there. He was there, even though he was there in his way at the time and generation.
Your dad is a good dude, man.
He's a good dude, but he's got things that, like Gabe was saying, that it's things that you really want to talk to your parents about, but you realize it's not necessary because they are who they are. He's in his 70s. And the fact that he was there, I'm not going to call him out for it because he had an 8th grade education. So I'm not going to call him out on that. If he was a college graduate and did some of the things, then I got to step to you. But I got to understand the most important value for him was to be there for his children. So I'll give him that.
Wow, Gabe.
Well, going back to that, I also got married because I fell in love, and I got married about 33, and I was always in relationships, and then but they always ended. And then when I found someone that I felt completely different than I felt about anybody, I was 33, and it was time. But then when we started talking about children, I think if it were up to guys, there would be way less children in the world. My wife, who was a couple years older than I was, said, look, we got to do this pretty soon or we're not going to do it. And of course, now I can't picture a world without my kids in it. I have a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old. So I think for me, that's the reason to get married. I think if you get married and it's because of a business proposition, it's just, not going to work out.
Unless it's a Kardashian.
But again, it's a great one, Louis.
It's a corporation. Ours went from the Abelson divorce to the MetLife divorce.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. I think the system just preys on us in that way that everything Louis is talking about, like if you're really listening to Louis and Gabe and their experiences and Veronica and of course Whitney and Ashanti, if you're listening, you hear Louis talk about fatherhood and like in the role of a dad and what it means and the effect of dad, right? The problem is everything in America is through the capitalist, POV perspective, everything. And they've taken something as sacred as family and really turned it into a $50 billion a year industry. I'm talking about family law, family court, $50 billion a year because we can't work it out. I had a lawyer tell me that. She said, listen, you're better off working it out because when you get us involved, we tear families apart because we're trained to have winners and losers. And whether you guys want to acknowledge this or not, before we go to our next break, we have to talk about men coming out on the losing end in higher numbers than women. It's not always 50-50 now, is it?
Well, you got to keep in mind, it's a cycle. You think about what men did 25 years ago to women and how they came out on the losing end.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at that. They were left with nothing. Men went on to get younger women and all that.
It's true.
What is it? The sins of your father, your grandfather. It's time to pay back. And it's not as much as, because the time has changed, so it seems like more money. But it's really the inconvenience. It's you have to start over. You have to scrape yourself. That's why I say get two of everything. And it's a good start.
Get two of everything. Listen, we got to take a quick break. The Voice of Reason is giving you a serious one-on-one lesson on divorce, family legacy, relationship building. If you're serious about moving forward in your life, you need to tune in. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds. Hot Button Radio, Dash Radio. It's what we do. 844-55-1 is the number to dial. If you want to participate, I'll be back in 2 seconds. Yeah, we're talking about the death of relationship. Man. Otherwise known as divorce.
Can we get a Temptation or a Michael Franks song?
Some love
Michael Franks.
I don't even know who that is.
Even though I like Nicki Minaj, but come on.
If you're listening to Nicki Minaj, you're definitely getting divorced. I'm just saying.
Hey, when my son's home, that's what I hear, all that nasty stuff. My daughter's a sellout. She plays that little kill yourself music.
Oh,
no. I'm in love and all that. Kill yourself.
Do it, Louis. I'm in love with the girl.
Oh, I'm so sick of that song. I didn't even know. That's how you know you old. I didn't even know what they were singing about. I'm like, what? And it was like, yeah, Dad, I'm in love with a girl. I was like, man, go back upstairs. Go on.
Listen, we got callers. We have weekly a psychic medium that calls into our show. She's on the line. And what I'd like to do is to have people who are thinking about getting married call in and ask Hecka if it's going to go bad. If you should do it at all. Yes or no.
Hilarious.
If you want to know, call Hecka Activated right now. 844-55-1. I think people deserve to know the truth. You can save yourself a lot of trouble.
And somebody that's a psychic going to tell you the truth.
Yes.
I'm not buying it.
Yes. She's good, man.
That's
Lewis.
Heck, with a name like Heck, I just can't.
You don't even know what Hecka means.
I don't give a Hecka.
He said, I don't give a Hecka.
Damn.
Well, you're about to meet Hecka, Lewis.
Hecka.
And you're going to be nice.
All right. Hey, listen, she should already know what I'm going to do.
He doing his thing.
She should already know what I'm
He's
going
doing
to
it.
do. Lewis, you're on fire today.
No, I'm just.
Turned up.
Lewis is a comedian, Hecka. Take no offense to his words.
Please
Welcome
do.
to the show, Hecka.
Not at all.
All right, so
Not
listen.
offended at all. How are you guys?
Hey, Hecka.
Hecka, are you down to do some readings for anybody who would like to call in and find out if they're going to make it all the way across the finish line or not?
Well, can she read me? Do I have to have a man to be read?
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Hold on, Ashanti. Ashanti got hella personal, right? Like, can we make this about me? Did we just talk about all of the pitfalls of marriage and she brought it back to herself?
Hey, if she don't put it out there, it won't get got. So
That's all I'm saying.
Jesus Christ. Listen, we got D from Maryland on the line. D from Maryland, holla at me right now. You seeing somebody? Is it serious? Do you want to know if it's going to make it or not? Hecka on the line is there too. D, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Zoe? What's up, ladies?
Don't start stuttering. Let's go.
Hey.
What's up, y'all? Man, it's like I'm glad to see Zoe and Lewis. Yeah, it's like a Foxhole reunion, man.
Yeah. We've had many times on the Foxhole. Good times.
Hey, I was my point was, I just think sometimes, the reason why marriage is dissolved so fast in this generation is because the government and society, they know that women are socially savvy in this society. So it's like women know that once the marriage is over with, once she gets out of the marriage, she gets money. See, women already know this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to look, family building, that's debt. House, that's debt.
Women.
When she goes to court, she's getting that. She gets the house. She can sell it.
You sound silly.
Support. She's looking at that as a gold mine. They already know.
So, for my personal experience, I took a super L. I took a super L as far as financially, like, done. He was in the military. I mean, obviously there wasn't that much money, but people were telling me, he owes you. You got to do this. And I said, no, he doesn't. Like, I got my stuff. He has his stuff. And we're good. I would much rather keep the friendship than deal with some petty. I mean, it's not even our money. It's the government's giving him the money anyway. I still didn't take it because I would much rather keep that friendship, that bond.
You're just a sweetheart.
I'm just being
most
real.
women see a man.
He still got my TV though. I'm not gonna lie. I still need my TV. Vinny, if you're listening, I need my TV back.
No, hey, seriously, Hecka Activated went through a divorce too. She's the 5th divorcee on the phone. Hecka, can you briefly tell us about how your divorce went? And was it amicable? Was it messy?
Did you see it coming?
And Lewis.
Yes, I did. I did see it coming. Absolutely did. Actually, way before it actually came. But I want to say that I love being divorced. I do. I think it was the best decision that I made in my life, and it taught me more about myself. It allowed me to open up to who I really was and dig a little deeper to find out more about myself than I ever found out during the 17 years that we were together. Was it amicably? I would like to say that it was, or that I planned for it to be, and I think that it started off that way. But, you know, I think that things always really shift when other women become involved. And with my particular situation, that's exactly what happened. Men that talk about money, in my opinion, when it comes to divorces, are men that don't have any. They're always thinking that money is the root cause of the situation. And in reality, I really walked away from my divorce, and everything that we had, he has it right now because I didn't want to fight for it. And him and his new wife is now enjoying it. So it doesn't have anything to do with money. I mean, I walked away from my divorce and didn't even put child support in the divorce decree. In the child support section, I put 0 because I didn't want to put him in the system as it pertains to child support.
There's still some good sisters out here, ladies and gentlemen. There's still some good sisters out here. Everybody want to say that, the sisters is bad. They're going to take you to child support. But we got some good sisters, at least on the show. At least they showed up for the show. Mm-hmm. This is great.
The angry sisters are trying to dial in right now.
Lines is clogged.
Listen,
right?
the number to dial right now is 844-55-1. That's the number to dial. We got callers. They're lining up. Let's get them in here. LB, Connecticut. You're on the line. Talk to me, man.
Hey, what's up, Zoe? What's up, y'all? How you doing?
What's up, LB?
All right.
I want to make 2 points. Hearing you and Lewis on the radio talking about marriage, I tweeted you the link, but it brings me back to that heated argument that y'all got into.
We're legendary for that argument, Jesus.
Yeah. Second point I want to make is the family court, divorce court, whatever court you really want to talk about when it comes to family, whether it's a man and woman and their children, is designed for a black man to fail. You talked about how many millions or billions of dollars that they make a year. If you think back to years prior, it wasn't like this. So I think they developed the system into a place where they make you pay. You have to come out of pocket for something. And 9 times out of 10, it's the black man who's coming out of pocket for something, whether it's child support, alimony.
Well, listen, Gabe is here right now, and Gabe is not a black man. He's a white man, and he's coming out of pocket.
Everybody.
So everybody comes out. Listen.
And the women come out of pocket, too.
Stop.
Tasha Smith.
Tasha Smith, Halle Berry. We can name some celebrities.
Me.
But basically, in general, women... Listen, there are no men in the court system who have turned it into a hustle. There are some women in there that have turned this into a job. So they don't have to fill out no application. Just have some kids. Let's just be real.
But who's getting on the knee? I don't feel too bad for these dudes who keep asking. I see some of these basketball wives have 4 or 5 different ball players, divorce this one, marry this one, and next. And the dude is the one picking the girl. So
you mean like Kamora Lee?
Yeah, there it is.
I mean,
what's the Ocho Cinco's chick? Evelyn Lozado. She had a couple. Like, you know what I mean? So
he lost it once he put the Hall of Fame jacket on.
Boom, done. But I'm saying, like, y'all are the ones picking the chicks that are taking all your pockets.
I hear LB.
Thank you, LB. Appreciate the call,
I hear
man.
what he's saying on one hand, but it's, I mean, as a man, again, like I said before, you're going to take hits, and it depends on, no, you don't want to give up your income. No, you don't want to do that. But, sometimes, and I had to dust myself off. You have to dust yourself off. And it's funny, LB said that about Zoe and I going at it. That's one of the most, it's interesting to me how men can take an example from that real men can go at each other, but find out what's important. And what's important was Zoe's family, my family, his mom, God rest her soul.
Thank you, Louis.
And his son and his daughter. I knew that was important to him. So our going at each other was on the surface. We already knew that was something underneath that we cared about. And that's what we need to understand is that you can go at the surface with someone, but then do you talk to them later on and have the real conversation? That's what the old heads did.
Right.
They go at each other, but they always say, man, let me call you later and let me talk to you.
And a lot of people don't know, it was a conversation that was much like this in terms of the topic. And a lot of people really don't know that after me and Lewis went at each other on the radio real crazy, that while we were on the air, we were like, oh, it's all good. We shaking hands. And Speedy goes, no, shh, let the fans think you guys hate each other. Right. So people don't know that, while we were still on the air, we giving each other dap, we shaking hands, we cool with it, So this is how real men do, You say what you feel, you say what you mean, you stand by it, and then you cool with it.
Right.
And that's what it is,
Yeah.
So thanks, LB. Good looking out, and thanks for putting that unnecessary app back out there.
Thank you. Right. It's already got 20,000 views or something stupid. Thanks.
Why you got to bring up old shit?
I like how
Listen,
women do that.
I really, really, really want people to call in. Maybe some newlyweds. Save yourself some bread. Maybe some people that are just engaged. Maybe you get to keep the ring, but don't go all the way. Please call in and ask Hecka Activated if you gonna make it. 844-55-1. That's the number to dial. Ashanti has something to say.
I have a question. My grandmother always used to say, marry someone you wouldn't mind getting divorced to. So with that said, when marry someone that you wouldn't mind getting divorced to. That's what she used to say.
Right.
So with that said, are you supposed to go into marriage thinking about what it would be like if you got divorced?
You always got to have a plan B, I feel like.
In the beginning?
Like, off top. Like, hey, I mean, that's just the real world, right? Like, A, and then there's going to be a B. Like, I mean, that would be me, though, personally.
We were always taught to choose wisely, treat kindly. You know, and that's the important thing is, and even if it doesn't work out, that's what I'm saying. That's why I try to tell people, get married first, have children, and then whatever works out, because at least you started with a foundation. If you don't start out with a foundation, moving in with a guy and letting him have all that stuff without the foundation, he can
What do you mean all that stuff? Say more.
Well,
Come on, Lewis.
Yeah, he gets to do whatever he wants in the bedroom. He's not making a commitment. He's not. The thing about men.
Are you saying it's too easy to get right now?
Yes. I mean, you don't even have to take a girl. I mean, you could just say something and the girl gives it up right away. It's just sickening, you know, the way these young women are giving themselves up to these boys and not making them, you know, earn it. You know,
but maybe it's just a sign of the times. Maybe this is where we live.
It's still your womb. It's still him inserting his penis in you, and then
we'll
you
get
have
clinical
to deal with
then.
Is that how
Why
it
don't you?
works?
Is that
I'm
right?
just
Get
saying,
clinical
to the point
then.
where these young girls think that's the ticket. No, you have to make this boy earn it.
So give me 2 tips on how she can make him earn it. Then I'm going.
First, let
to
him meet
Ashanti.
your daddy.
Boom.
Or your granddaddy. All right,
Or your uncle.
Or your uncle. Make him go
brother.
through another XY chromosome. All right? Then what you do is you contact his daddy. See, the father has to contact the daddy and say, what kind of boy are you sending to my daughter? Or what kind of daughter you sending? Because some girls out there, you go to meet the mama or the daddy. Then if you realize the daddy's not in home, you know what you're getting. Then you know what you got to deal with. Okay, I got to deal with that. If it's a father in home and you stay and talk and say, listen, we just can't let these kids get pregnant. Otherwise, okay, we both gonna work on that. You block and I block.
While you going there, Lou? This is how I do. You might think it's embarrassing, but I feel like I gotta do it just to let them know, like, somebody's on the watch.
Yes.
Somebody is here paying attention. So my son is 18. He's got a little 18-year-old girlfriend, and I'm there like, hey, what's happening in here?
Right.
What is this about? You guys share a class, right? What is that class? Oh, the class is chemistry. Okay, isn't that apropos? You guys are together and you share chemistry. That's good. Just in this room, it's all chemistry homework.
Right.
Not physical chemistry. You know?
Nobody tells these young girls, young boys how good it feels. See, that's the
Say
thing.
it,
When
Louis.
that little boy's touching you, that girl, it feels good. When that little girl's touching you, it feels good. And it makes you say, I'm lying to my parents. Because they never made me feel this way.
Wow.
So you first got to tell your daughter, listen, it's going to feel good. When that boy touch you, Dad, that's about, hey, it's going to feel good. It's going to feel when you never had. Your little nipples going to get hard. You got to go there, all right?
Louis!
And you have to tell them that and embarrass them. So when she starts feeling it, she goes right back to, my daddy was right.
And then boom, dad pops in your head and fucks the whole shit up. I like it.
You get
That's
dry
mental,
right away.
Yes, mental cock blocking.
Wow.
Lewis just invented a new one, mental cock blocking.
I've already told my daughter, when you least expect it, you gonna see me somewhere you thought I wouldn't be. She's like, what? No. I'm like, yes, I will be there. Gabe?
Well, I got divorced and she got the shotgun, so there's not much I can do.
Damn it.
Oh, God, Gabe.
No, I'm just teasing. Now, you know, just going back to the point before, I think, you know, I don't think you need to plan for the best and, you know, hope for the best and plan for the worst. I don't think there should be a plan for the worst because it's not really the way to go into a marriage. I think you got to go into it with complete optimism. And sometimes I think about that whole idea of a prenup, and is that going into it with the wrong frame of mind. If that already sets a bad tone, it's like, just in case. I don't know if there should be a just in case.
Right.
You should be so head over heels in love and just be thinking of the future together rather than preparing for the worst at the same time. And unfortunately, if the worst happens, it happens and you deal with it then.
Right.
But the very beginning, I think you have to know.
Ashanti?
So I agree with you guys 150%. I want to go back to having conversations with your kids about sex and how great it will feel and et cetera, and encouraging them to hold off. I want to go back to that because there are some outside influences that we're forgetting about that have completely changed our times.
What is
I
that?
mean, for example,
The internet?
they have Barbies now. Pregnant Barbies.
Shut up.
You know, it used to just be the Barbie, the girl Barbie, and the guy Barbie. What was his name? Ken?
Yeah,
now they got pregnant Barbies. They got this and that Barbies.
They got
There's a lot of
side
outside
hoes.
What about
influences.
that big MTV show?
Oh, 16 and pregnant.
16 and pregnant.
This is the thing. There's a lot of outside influence.
It's a big deal.
They got divorced Barbie. She's got the dream house.
Divorce Barbie's got the dream house.
That's right.
Gabe is on fire. Lewis.
It goes back to your presence. If you're there, I always say this, if a man sees his daughter or son come out of that womb in the beginning, it's going to put a responsibility on you, which means you just have to be there as much as you can. If they see you more than they see the TV show Teen Pregnant, they're going to reflect on you. If they don't see you, that's going to be what's in their mind. You have to be present. I don't care if you have money, you don't have any money. It doesn't cost anything to be present.
Right.
Okay, you can be present. I don't care if the ex doesn't want you around them, you can show up and say hi. You can say, hey, I love you. You can send a note. There's a way to do it. Some circumstances are extreme. I understand that. But if it's not extreme and all you're doing is not showing up, then that's your punk behind. That means
That's a great
weak.
point.
So look, I got to do this. For all the divorcees, right? I want to know, what was the biggest lesson you learned about yourself from the divorce? And I'm going to start with Hecka Activated. Hecka?
The biggest...
You wasn't even ready for that. I see you took a deep breath like, oh. Go ahead, Hecka.
No, the biggest thing that I learned from myself about the divorce is that I really don't want to be stuck in a marriage where I'm only dealing with just one person. I learned that I really, really need freedom. And that freedom was something that I hadn't had in my whole adult life because I was married my whole adult life. And that taught me about really making plans for going into another relationship if and when I decide to do so. I don't want to be stuck in a marriage. I don't know, this show is so sounding like a Christian type of show to me.
No, it's not. That's your shortcomings.
We're going to let her speak, Lewis.
Go ahead. But that's her shortcomings. Don't put her shortcomings on the people who enjoy it.
Hey.
Go ahead, Hecka.
She gets to speak.
I'm sorry. I apologize. But go ahead.
Lewis. Go ahead, Hecka.
I just don't feel like, I think we're talking about sexuality and women having sex and that type of thing as if it's something that's bad, like it's taboo. I mean, we don't really need to have somebody that we're going to have sex with or everybody that we're going to have sex with meet our parents or meet our auntie or our uncle and all that stuff. Sometimes situations are just for sexual purposes only. Sometimes people just want to have sex.
You know what? That's crazy and stupid. Because of the fact is, that's something that you want. You didn't want to be married. You didn't want to have a commitment. You want freedom. Then you will never find someone who can commit to you. I understand that, but don't put that on everybody else. Everybody wants someone to love them and care for them. All right? That's why you have a mother and a father. That's why you tell your daughter to understand who she's going to get with and not worry about the dress. So don't all of a sudden put your little terms that I want my freedom. I want free sexuality. That's something from the 60s and the 70s. All right? Free sex causes death now. Okay? If you don't do it the proper way. And feelings. That's why sometimes you're probably sitting at home lonely because you want somebody and then somebody roll up and just pop you and then leave. You don't want them to do that. Come on, that means you just a jump off.
Wait a minute, Lewis.
No.
Lewis.
Because that's just something that she's spewing to young girls who are impressionable. And the whole thing is, it does take a father. Every girl that you talk to, if her father's not in her life, she says, I wish I knew my father.
Wait a minute, Lewis.
It's just crazy talk.
Now, let me just say this really quickly. For all those...
That's European talk.
For all those people, there's a European in the room. Can we show some respect to him,
well,
too?
He understands.
I'm a half a European.
Anyway.
He don't respect to anybody because he don't have respect for himself.
Oh, see, now she angry. Back up.
This is
I'm just
what
making
Lewis
a point.
does.
That's why you're not married and you want 17 years of freedom. So that's
But Lewis,
just understand. That's my point of view.
But that's the black man's motive.
See, that's the black man's motive.
To speak from her. Yeah,
Girl.
that's exactly what you do. The moment
No.
a woman starts to stand up for herself and speak to what she
Lewis.
No, I'm not going to allow her to say ignorant stuff to younger women.
Hey, this is what we're going to do.
Yes, please.
I was about to cut some mics.
Ooh.
This is what we're going to do. We did not prep Hecka to know who the hell Lewis Dix is. This is my fault. This is what Lewis Dix does. He does this on every show. We knew we were going to have one of these blow-up moments.
Look, she came on as a psychic.
Lewis is, hey, psychics are real, please. She's
Psychics
my
are hustlers.
personal psychic, Lewis.
Yeah, okay.
She's been accurate.
She knew your son was going to Auburn?
You know what? A psychic did tell me.
Oh, I'm talking about the one Hecka.
Hecka is 100%.
She said he was going to Syracuse. I heard her.
She didn't say he was going to. Lewis is a comedian.
Hecka, can you just tell me when I'm gonna get married? That's all I want from Hecka.
Boo. Turn everybody's mic off, goddammit. Fucking Lewis Dix. So Lewis Dix is a comedian. Don't take it personal. This is who he is.
I'm not taking it personal at all. But Lewis Dix can be a comedian, but there are consequences to his words, just like there are consequences to everybody's words. And I'm not at all taking anything that he's saying personal. But if you don't send for me, don't come for me unless I send for you. And if you come for me, I'm going to let you know what I'm seeing with you. So I tell you to tread carefully, Lewis. That's all I'm saying.
That's what and I'm riding with Hecka on this one really quickly. Vinny, the ex-husband of Whitney, is on the phone. Jesus, if this show hasn't taken another turn, this successful breakup is about to get serious.
Vin, what up? Look, I'm sorry. Look, I said, hey, Vinny, you want to talk? Let's talk for a second.
Let's talk. Let's do it.
What's up?
Vinny is Whit's ex-husband.
Vinny, this is my, everybody.
And they giggling and just they're all happy.
Here we go.
The hell? Get back together. Stop playing.
Well, chill out. We're good.
Just chill out. I'm here having fun.
We are good. Yeah.
We're good. No, so you asked before, Zoe, what's one thing that I learned while me and Vinny were married? I learned that I can't make anyone else happy, and I can't expect anybody else to do the same. I can't expect Vinny to make me happy, and I can't make him happy by doing anything else. So that's the one thing that I learned from the divorce that I think is healthy. It's good. We're good. You can divorce and
Hecka, really quickly. Hold on 1 second, Vinny. Hecka.
Yeah, no doubt.
Chris, who is Whitney's cousin.
God damn, we just gonna have the whole.
I'm just saying. He just asked me. He just asked me to ask you if Whitney and Vinny are going to get back together. I just need to know.
I'd like to know.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
I honestly feel like I don't get that they're going to get back together and be married, but I do feel some sexual activity taking place.
We've learned a little bit about Whitney, so that could be true. Yes.
Vinny, what are you doing later? You know what I'm saying? You hop on a flight or not? I mean,
I could have said that. I could have forecast that. So
what he said. What
I said I could have forecast that. I mean, come on.
That don't mean you would have been accurate.
Oh yeah, look at her. She's beautiful. I mean, come on. That's easy.
Feel special, honey.
Look, Hecka's still talking out the side of her neck. Go ahead, girl. Predict yourself before you predict me.
Lewis is on.
No, I'm just on truth. That's all.
But Whitney, what does that mean that you can't make him happy? What does that mean?
Yeah, what's up?
I just want to know, Vinny, there's a lot of guys in here, and we look at Whitney, and Whitney is fine as shit. Fine as Persian cat nut hair. And Jesus. Why? What had happened? What's wrong? What went down?
What's wrong with
Jeez.
I mean, a lot of things. I mean, you're talking about what you learned going through a divorce. I learned I learned a lot of different things for myself. I mean, I don't. That's a tough one because she does look good, but I wasn't grown up. I didn't grow up. It took me 3-4 years after the divorce to finally grow up and see where I went wrong and become a better person and try to be a better person. But I definitely took some wrong turns. So those are struggles that I've been living with ever since. But because of those, it has made me a better person.
Yeah.
I think.
So if you're a better person and she's a better person,
relax, though. This ain't the context
There's
of
nothing wrong with that.
No. Me and Vinny are like, look, we honestly, when I moved to LA, that's honestly part of the reason why I moved to LA. Because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this divorce. So, you know what? Let's just move to the worst city to be single. I was young. I was very young. But now I'm on the radio and I'm doing awesome things with all of these amazing people. So I have never looked at my failed marriage or our failed marriage as a bad thing.
Well, it
honestly,
can't be.
It's a positive.
If you guys are friends right now, it can't be seen as failed anything.
No, not at all.
Honestly, and I can be 1,000. If I could be 1,000% honest, when I moved to LA, it was literally the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I moved to the city, never even stepped foot here, and came here and just started a job. I started working for Rihanna's team in a day. Like literally, it was the craziest, dumbest shit I've probably done, but I'm excited. But Vinny there's only two people that could keep me sane through this whole situation, and it was the person I was running away from, which was Vinny. Yeah. He was the only one I could call to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, let me cry. And he was there for me throughout that. And now, we're there.
You trusted him.
For real, forever will be like one of my best friends.
That's good that you
trust him. And thank you, Vinny.
And it's likewise. So when she left, it turned me to look into myself, and I just had to ask myself, like, what am I doing wrong? Where do I need to improve myself? And by her leaving, I answered a lot of those questions. And anytime she would call, anytime she was frustrated, like all I wanted to do was help. I felt like it was my responsibility to help this woman, not only because I felt bad for my mistakes and the things that I did.
Well, Vinny, we have questions too.
She's been my friend for so long. Go ahead.
I said we have questions for you too, Vinny. Just like we're friends on the basketball court. How was it? Is it good?
Here we go.
Oh my God.
You can be honest too. If it was whack, let me know because I gotta work on it.
What are you referring to in particular?
You know exactly what we're talking about. The yoni root. You know exactly.
Be real, Vinny. Don't lie. Don't hurt my feelings. I don't care.
Let's just say Whit has a very active imagination. She looks better, I guess. With less clothes on, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. She liked different things, and at the time, I wasn't really as hip like she was.
Okay, Vinny, you made it.
You went from clothes off to liking different things.
Right, Vinny, you lost the winning lottery ticket, Vinny. We got it.
Yeah, that was a little too honest, man.
You told me to be honest.
Hey, man, thanks for calling, man. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us. This is a great call, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks,
Vinny. I appreciate y'all having me, and continue to keep treating her right. It sounds like she's having a lot of fun out there.
Oh yeah, trust me. We're going to see how we're going to ask her to take her clothes off, see whether she's like Thank you, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Andre from Las Vegas, you're on the line, man. He's on number 5.
Yeah.
What up, Dre? Speak on it. You got about 45 seconds before we go to break. So tell me what you want to say, man.
Oh, it's very simple. Everybody wants to live life, but for the wrong reason. It's just like, what is it about sex? What is it about sex that urges a person on? What is it about sex that makes a person just drive to do something, one of the most dumbest things in life? I mean, you want the appetite, but you don't want the dinner.
Okay.
I'm just saying, though. You're my number one mentor. Okay, you're my mentor. You tell me this. You mean to tell me that once you have sex and then you get married, what then?
Tell me, what then, though?
All right, that's just...
There is no sex after marriage.
Lewis wants to respond to you.
No, I mean, that just... there is sex after marriage. I mean, that's just ridiculous. There's... I mean, you know what?
But he's talking about the stats here.
I understand,
27 to 40 million.
Right, but what I'm saying is that people have... It's a different thing. Anybody can have sex. The key is intimacy. The key is some people who can't even function, but they're married with someone that they love and care for. It's intimacy. Sex is something that's you.
Man.
Look, you just said Zoe was your mentor. Hey, homie.
To me, it's God.
Hold up. The key to you is God, then you wouldn't start off with sex. So let's just get your priorities straight.
Sex, though.
But this is what I'm saying. But the bottom line is that let's get your priorities straight. If you're going to come on, just whatever you're doing in that dark room, just get off the phone and do it in that dark room, because you sound like there's something freaky going on, and it's just something.
What is Lewis doing?
I mean, Zoe, I just want to tell you what's sex and what's this.
I'm the one that's married, bro. I've been married for 10 years.
I understand.
I don't know what the hell you've been doing for all this time.
I hear what you're saying.
He's on your arm, bro.
Get him,
Look, bro.
Get him, Andrew.
Just because you say, bruh, don't scare me. Look, all these guys that try to threaten men. Listen, Holmes. Listen, Holmes, I understand that you're a thug over the phone. I get that. I'm scared. I'm running right now. But listen, I've lived life long enough to know that somebody that sells wolf tickets, that's all they sell. Now go back to your wife and let her think and do some push-ups so she can think you strong. Because you started off saying, sex and all that. It's first impression. I understand, Holmes, but you're being clowned right now. So I understand, bro. You're calling in the show. That means you're a fan. I understand. Go ahead, you're being clown. Bye-bye.
Okay, we got to take a quick break. Lewis, we almost had a breakthrough, man. This show was awesome. We were turning the corner. People were getting insight. And then Lewis. Lewis turns every radio show he's on into Speedy's Comedy Corner, into the Foxhole. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back at 2.2. We'll be right back. Oh, my God. I mean, it's crazy up in here right now. Lewis has our special guests. My homeboy came out here, man, from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's here with his pregnant woman, his wife. You know, and fiance, right? We should have Hecka give them a reading, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's out here and she arguing with Lewis.
No, she ain't. No.
God damn it, Lewis! You and your disrespectful ways.
Let me just explain to people. This is radio. All right, it's just fantasy. It's not real. You don't know me. I don't know you. I don't know why a brother would come on the radio first time talking to me would get that angry. You don't know me. Save that for the people you know. You know, the woman Hecka don't know me. If you're that deep and all that, you shouldn't let something that I say bother you to that degree.
Why you keep mentioning Hecka? She's on my team.
I understand that. But listen, my point is this. You don't know me, then why am what I'm saying even bothering you? You should move on to the next phase.
Because you disrespectful.
I didn't disrespect. I just tell the truth, my truth. I'm not asking you to like me or go out with me. This is my truth.
Lou said it's his truth. So, all right, I'll give you that, Lou.
So walk your own walk. Don't be sitting there walking mine. Shoot.
Okay, with that said, we got some more callers. Let's get these callers.
Let's piss them off. Come on.
Sherman, South Carolina, holla at me, man. Are you ready to divorce? Are you ready to get married? Are you dating? How close are you? And you should ask Hecka if you're going to make it or not, because I'm a believer in her abilities.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging on that long.
Divorce, yeah. 2 points, and I do want to ask Hecka a question. I think the divorce rate is so high because we just have more options, choice. I mean, choice gives us, we can, change the channel, we can tune in different things, and this is more choice. And to answer your question, though, the biggest thing I've learned from my divorce is communication. Communication before the marriage. Communication with a significant other to ask, what's your perspective on marriage? What's your goals on marriage? How do you see me as a husband? What are your expectations? What do you need from me as a husband? What do I need from you as a wife? Back and forth. And my question for Hecka is, will I ever get married again? If so, when?
Wow. Hecka?
Yes, I do feel like you'll get married again. And I don't feel like I feel like you have in your mind thought that you are not good at it or you weren't so good at it. And I don't feel like that was necessarily the case. I feel like you're a really good person, and I feel like you will be good as you move on you'll be even better as you move on into the next situation. But I don't feel that it's coming until about 2 to 3 years from now. But I don't think that's long. I mean, some people may feel like it's extremely long time. I don't think that's the case. But yes, you will get married again. And you will be much better at it than you were the last time, which was not so bad.
I hope so, man. I hope you learn from your mistakes and stop fucking around. Yeah. Okay? Now, I
just think people, she's the one that fucked around, though. When we're talking about marriage,
your woman messed around on you?
To be an end.
Yeah, she fucked around, though. Yeah, she fucked around.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
I don't think he was a horrible person.
No, I mean,
but to all beginnings.
I do believe that there should be more dialogue and more books about life after divorce, about the people that didn't really want the divorce, but, had to go through it anyway. So I think that's a real good, there should be some dialogue on that.
That's great. Hey, man, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Veronica Conway, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
What did the divorce teach you about yourself? Like, what weaknesses did your divorce reveal to you about you? Everybody's going to get this one.
About that, because, my daddy was a Panther, right? My daddy was a Black Panther, and I grew up in really volatile circumstances. So when it came to my ex, I confused safe with sane.
Wait. Say that again. Safe with sane.
Safe, S-A-F-E, with sane, S-A-N-E. So I thought that safe meant sane. So he was from a good, righteous, conservative, controlling background. And I pledged my love to him, I thought. But the beauty of what divorce taught me, it taught me to fall in love with myself. And I think that we talk about legislating kids and legislating their behavior. I promise you, if you teach your children to fall in love with themselves, they will be self-regulating and self-legislating. What happens when our kids don't fall in love with themselves, when they have a hole in their heart and their soul, is if they fall prey to people that control and judge and annihilate them, they fall prey to that because they're searching for something outside of themselves. So the biggest thing that I learned was to fall madly in love with myself and then to model that for my children. And so my daughters and sons, they're very self-regulating. We just have conversation about their choices.
Wow. There you go. That's a great
I think
answer.
Thank you, Veronica.
That is just a great point, because I didn't find out till after divorce that I really did not like myself so much, and I did not have the amount of time to really examine myself and look in the mirror and realize that I needed to treat myself better and have more self-respect, and that if I felt, and then think about, well, if I didn't feel this way before, how could my children have felt this way about me? And what kind of lesson was that for them to think about themselves? I think she's making a terrific point.
Yes.
That like I said, only afterward did I really realize I got to take care of myself. I got to do the right thing for myself. So, the falling in love with yourself in that sense, absolutely right.
Wow, that's good stuff. Lewis, what did you learn?
I learned Veronica's smart.
Veronica's dope. Man.
Yeah, Veronica should be hecka. But
oh my God.
I'm sorry, but no. After 20, I couldn't resist that. I'm sorry.
Cut Lewis' mic off for 10 seconds.
He gonna take a timeout.
He gets a 10-second timeout. Whitney, what did you learn?
What did I learn from getting divorced? I thought I kind of already said it, but I'll say it again.
Damn, Lewis. Go ahead.
I did learn, like I said, I can't force anybody else to be happy. I can only force myself to be happy. So I guess it's kind of the same thing, learning to love myself. And that's what moving and putting myself first did.
Wow.
Shout out to Veronica.
Now we're going to try Lewis one last time.
I'm sorry. I was just still laughing.
All right. Come back, Lewis. Come back to us.
After 24 years, I learned that I was right. That I was right. I was brilliant. I was right. And, hey, I'm still right.
Do you hear, Lewis?
Hey, he loves himself.
I was right, and I knew, what was coming, and I knew all that, and I was just ahead of myself, and I'm just so, like I said, I still love her. We talk all the time. We communicate. We have great times with the children, and she's actually in Hawaii right now. We were just on the phone last night because that's where we honeymooned, and I eventually will. I should ask Hecka, are we going to get back together? I'm sorry.
You're just going to keep going, huh?
I'm going to keep going. That's why not?
He's a Taurus, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus. No, please don't.
He's a Taurus.
Yeah.